All right, so my refrigerated air dryer finally showed up. It's been 2 weeks of issues with the shipping company. So it finally came today, and here it is in a box. I just cut the two straps, and I think the cover just comes, the box comes right off. There we go. All right, so this is a model. It says Cool 15. It is from Northern Tool and Equipment is where I bought it. Looks like it's made by Quincy Compressor. Quincy is a good name, so I'm happy to see that. Didn't realize that it was made by Quincy. So, all right, looks like working pressure 232 psi, maximum pressure 232, refrigerant R513A. All right, 115 volts, single phase, 60 hertz, weighs 41.8 pounds. Type Cool 15. All right, so looks like connections on the back here. I need to pull out the manual, check it out. Plug it in, see how it works. Looks like it might have a release there, perhaps. All right. Looks like it has a temperature gauge on the front. Okay, this is on-off switch. All right, well, I'll bring you back when I get ready to set it up and test it out and see how it works. I've got the refrigerated air dryer out of the crate up here on the workbench, and I'll show you. I've plumbed in the input with a quick disconnect input, and then the output comes out through a moisture separator, filter moisture separator with another quick disconnect. So this will allow me to bring the air dryer into the air circuit as as needed. I can always disconnect it, and just by having male and female leads here, I can just take it out of the circuit. So I do have it plugged in up here, and I've just turned it on. There's not a whole lot of controls here. There's an on-off switch and a gauge that apparently indicates the suitable range for operation. And the owner's manual that comes with this is pretty sketchy. I need to look at it again, but there's really not a lot of information about how to use this. Seems like it would be pretty straightforward. Plump air in and air out. They give you there is a drain hose. So not a whole lot to it. So there's airflow into what's probably the condenser, and then out over the evaporator. These connections back here are cold, getting cold, so and that's about it. They don't give you a whole lot of other information other than warnings, electrical warnings, and the general boilerplate you get with every appliance. So we'll plumb this into the system and see how it works. I've moved the air dryer to where I think I'm going to leave it, at least for the time being. See how it works here. So I've set it on, I've got a little refrigerator here. So I've set it on top of the refrigerator. This is the intake for cooling air. Discharge is here. There's enough space for that. So what I have is I have air hose coming off the manifold going to the input, and then I have a moisture separator coming off of it, and this will tell me if there's any moisture getting through the unit. And then this line goes to my hose reel on the ceiling. So I've got it set up like this primarily so I can choose you know, how I want the air dryer to be plumbed into the system, the air system. I could remove this manifold, and I could put the manifold on the output, and I could run all my lines off the air dryer. I can disconnect these two connections here, plug them together, and bypass the unit if I don't want to use it for some reason. So having it sitting here gives me, I think, the most flexibility in terms of hooking it up and using it in the air system. So we'll see how it works here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and you can feel, you know, the fan running. It does have, rereading the instructions, this gauge is a dew point indicator. There's not a lot of information, and I guess that's what this little symbol designates. This is the on-off switch. So the only instrumentation on this whole thing is the dew point indicator. So it's showing in the green range. So it's just, it hasn't been run since yesterday. It's sitting here in my shop. My shop is air conditioned about 74 degrees, so it's relatively low humidity in here. So I guess that's why the dew point indicator is in the green range now. If I start putting air through it, I'm not sure it would stay in that range, given that it hasn't been running. So I'm going to let it run. They say to let it run for 5 minutes before you turn the air on. I'm going to go ahead and give it about 5 minutes. I'll bring you back. I'll open a release valve on my air hose reel, basically to create some flow through the cooler, and we'll let some air blow through the cooler, see if any moisture accumulates in the you know, this moisture separator here, and just as kind of a quick test. All right, so I'll bring you back in a couple of minutes after that's had a chance to run. Okay, the air dryer has been running for about 5 minutes. I'm looking at the dew point indicator, and it's in the green. I guess this is low dew point, higher dew point, so it's at the bottom of the green range. It's running. The connections on the back are cold. So I've got it plumbed into the air system. The tank has filled, so the tank is charged. Let's go over to the air hose and create some airflow. So on the air hose here, I have just plugged a quick disconnect into the fitting here, and I have a shutoff valve. So if I open that, All right, I'm not sure what the airflow rate is that I created on the hose over there coming off the hose reel, but it's sufficient. It started up the air compressor again. The dew point indicator still in the at the bottom of the dew point indicator still at the bottom of the dew point range, so that's good. Seeing any moisture in the moisture separator coming out of the dryer. So that's a good sign. And so that's a pretty good flow rate. All right, so the dryer is a cool 15, so I think that means it's rated up to 15 SCFM, which is also the capacity of my air compressor, 15 SCFM at 90 PSI. So I don't know what the airflow is coming out of the hose right now, but the compressor is running. Go back and check the dryer on the back of the moisture separator on the back of the cooler. See if we're getting any moisture there. And I don't see any moisture there. I am seeing some moisture coming out of the radiator, so it's pulling the moisture out of the air, and the dryer, don't see any coming out of it. Now there's a drain hose on the dryer. Right here. And I'm not seeing any moisture coming out of this drain hose at this point yet. Dew point indicator is staying at the bottom of the range, green range, so I think that's a good sign. All right, let me go ahead and turn off the air over here. And we'll let the air compressor finish filling the tank and let it cut off automatically. So the sound shield has been closed the whole time, and it does make a big difference. The further away you get, the bigger the difference it seems to make. Standing right here, opening and closing it, it's so loud that it's hard to to tell the difference, but from the other side of the shop it makes a big difference. Okay, so it looks like from everything I can tell the dryer is working fine. The plumbing on the back of the dryer is cold to the touch. No moisture coming out of the moisture separator on the back of the dryer. Of course, there's two moisture separators before the air gets to the dryer. The one on the output of the radiator catches most of the moisture before it goes back into the tank, and then as it comes out of the tank, it goes through this separator, and there is some moisture visible here on this. I mean, not enough to really make a mess, but there looks like some condensation on the inside of this separator, and even maybe a little bit on the inside of this lubricator. Not sure about this desiccant. So there's a little bit of moisture coming out of the tank. Otherwise we wouldn't see the condensation on the inside of these filters. So definitely some moisture coming out of the tank, which makes a case for having the dryer in the circuit. I think some people try to run plasma tables with just a radiator and a moisture separator, you know, like we have up here. But there's clearly still moisture in the air. You can see it condensing here on the output of the tank before it gets to the dryer. So I was wondering, you know, if I was going for overkill, getting a dryer, add it to the air circuit, but it looks like it was probably a good decision because I do see moisture on the air that comes into the dryer. All right, so that's the extent of my initial test, and I really won't get to see the value of the air dryer and everything until I get the plasma table set up. I have gotten some more boxes from Langmuir. I've got the electronics and hardware boxes. I got the torch height controller, I got the laptop stand, and I got the water table here. What I don't have is most of the frame components. So once they come, then I'll be able to start assembly. There are several things I've seen, and I don't mean to make this about the plasma table, but just to let you know what my plans are for it. There's several people on YouTube who have modified their plasma table. I liked a lot of the stuff I saw, so my plans are to incorporate the drag chains that Custom Designs or Custom Innovations on his YouTube channel. So I have the aluminum channel and the plastic drag chains. All right, so got the drag chains, got the serial extension cable that was recommended, and my plan is to build a support frame underneath the table, an angle iron support frame with casters underneath the table so the table can be moved around. I mean, I think I have enough space here for it, but I would like to be able to move it around. There is, I'm going to put a shelf underneath it. I've got a tank to drain the water into, and again, some of the folks on on YouTube with the tables. So this is a sprayer tank, 16 gallon, 16 gallon sprayer tank, inexpensive sprayer tank. So I'll drain the table into that tank and use the pump on that tank to refill the table. So I've got what I need, I think, to assemble the table, and so that, I think, ends the video series on the air system, and I'll bring you back when I get the table assembled, and operational. I don't plan to do a series of assembly videos. All right, so thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'm getting ready to pull a Cub Cadet here in the shop and do a mower deck swap. So look for that video in the not too distant future. All right, see you guys later. Thanks for watching.